Hello everyone, welcome to BetSmart Soccer, your destination for the best sports betting tips. Today we have an unmissable duel between Criciúma and Fluminense. Stay with me until the end to discover exclusive insights that will boost your bets. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any tips. Will Criciúma's defense withstand the pressure, and Fluminense's attack, will it finally come alive? What if I told you we have a secret tip that can help you win big? Don't go anywhere. Let's dive into the statistics, starting with Criciúma. In the last 10 matches, the team won 30%, drew 20%, and lost 50%. A worrying stat is the average of 1.9 goals conceded per game, with a defense that lets in goals in 90% of the games. On the other hand, Criciúma has an average of 15 shots per game, indicating many goal-scoring opportunities, and now, Fluminense. With only 10% wins in the last 10 games, the team is going through a tough phase. The average number of goals scored is low, only 0.6 per game, and in 90% of recent games, they scored just one goal or none. However, Fluminense's defense is a positive point, with good goalkeeper performance and high passing accuracy. Let's highlight the strengths and weaknesses. Criciúma tends to have games with more than 2.5 goals, occurring in 80% of the last matches. This is great for betting on over goals. However, the weak defense and high average of shots conceded are major disadvantages. On the other hand, Fluminense, despite the bad phase, has a relatively solid defense and high passing accuracy. The trend of games with less than 2.5 goals can be a safer bet. And now, the betting tips you've been waiting for. For those who like to bet on goals, the tip is both teams to score, considering that 90% of Criciúma's games and 80% of Fluminense's games follow this pattern. And the special tip, keep an eye on the final minutes of the first half. Criciúma has a pattern of pressing during this phase, creating good goal-scoring opportunities. This can be an excellent opportunity to bet on goals at the end of the first half. The third match I will analyze is the game between Atlético Mineiro and São Paulo. Let's dive into the statistics, starting with Atlético Mineiro. In the last 10 matches, the team won 30%, drew 30%, and lost 40%. A worrying stat is the average of 2 goals conceded per game, with a defense that lets in goals in 90% of the games. On the other hand, Atlético Mineiro has an average of 16.2 shots per game, indicating many goal-scoring opportunities. And now, São Paulo. With 60% wins in the last 10 games, the team is in a positive phase. However, 80% of São Paulo's recent games had the first goal scored against them, which may indicate an initial vulnerability. But passing accuracy is a strong point, with an 86% pass success rate. Let's highlight the strengths and weaknesses. Atlético Mineiro has a high average of shots per game, and creates many goal attempts, with 10.9 attempts per game. However, the weak defense and high average of shots conceded are major disadvantages, with 13.1 shots suffered per game. On the other hand, São Paulo, despite having a defense that concedes few corners, suffers a high average of shots, with 11.8 per game. The tendency to score the first goal in 80% of the games can be a good indicator for betting on first team to score. And now the betting tips you've been waiting for. For those who like to bet on goals, the tip is both teams to score, considering that Atlético Mineiro's defense is vulnerable, and São Paulo tends to score early. Today we have an unmissable duel between Fontão and Crusaders for the Europa Conference League. Let's dive into the statistics, starting with Fontão. In the last 10 matches, the team won 50%, drew 20%, and lost 30%. The defense has been a weak point, conceding an average of 2 goals per game and allowing goals in 80% of the games. However, the team still has a reasonable ability to take chances, with an average of 14.1 shots per game. And now, the Crusaders. With 50% wins in the last 10 games, the team is not in a bad phase either. However, the defense concedes an average of 1.8 goals per game and allows shots frequently, with an average of 12.1 per game. Like Fontão, defense is an important area of concern. Let's highlight the strengths and weaknesses. For Caernarfontown, there are no standout characteristics in the last 10 games. However, the weak defense and high average of shots conceded, with 14.1 per game, are major disadvantages. On the Crusaders' side, there are also no standout characteristics. But, like Caernarfontown, they have a weak defense and concede a high average of shots, with 12.1 per game. The similarity in defensive weaknesses may indicate a high-scoring game. And now, the betting tips you've been waiting for. For those who like to bet on goals, the tip is both teams to score, considering that both defenses are vulnerable and the high average of shots conceded by both teams. If you prefer a more conservative bet, over 2.5 goals in the game can be a good option, given the defensive inconsistency of both teams. These were today's analyses and tips. Don't forget to leave your bet for this game in the comments and subscribe to the channel for more analyses like this. Good luck with your bets and see you next time.